But as you've been hearing in our news bulletins, the Clare Local Enterprise Office claims the outlook for businesses in this county is very positive. The Local Enterprise Development Plan for this year to 2028 has been unveiled at this week's meeting of Clare's Economic Development Strategic Policy Committee. Between 2021 and 2025, the Clare LEO provided funding of €2.5 million to 107 enterprises, assisted 206 businesses and supported 1,360 jobs. The plan was unveiled by Clare LEO Senior Enterprise Development Officer Theresa Mulvihill Killeen, who identified its 5 key strategic priorities as driving decarbonisation and sustainability, accelerating digital transformation, supporting locally traded sectors, strengthening the Irish-owned exporting sector and fostering innovation. Clare FM's Seán Lyons was at the meeting and began by speaking with Theresa about how the last few years have been for Clare businesses.
This broadcast package on Clare FM is funded by the Local Democracy Reporting Scheme.
There are local factors within our county and within our control, and there are factors then that we have absolutely no control over. But overall, the Local Enterprise Office has dealt with those extremely well for enterprises. We've had all sorts of things that from around the globe that have presented challenges, right down to the digitisation, the introduction of AI for businesses, and also sustainability. Businesses are also struggling with skills and workforce. However, we, at the Local Enterprise Office, in collaborating with our external partners and stakeholders like the regional skills forums, the ETBs, the SkillNet groups, and delivering a strong mentor programme, delivering a strong training programme annually here, and by supporting businesses in a one-to-one basis. Businesses are agile, and they're adapting to the various challenges that they face.
Adapting, I think, is the name of the game there, and was spoken about a number of times today. Even before AI, I worked in retail a number of years ago, and I remember online shopping being a big problem and something that was just on the rise at that time. Since the pandemic, even the likes of that, I suppose, requires businesses to adapt and to alter their model ever so slightly.
Sure, and you saw a prime example of that. The Local Enterprise Office has delivered out online trading vouchers during that period. They went from maybe being 17, 20 a year pre-2020 to rolling out workshops of where you had 500 people on those online webinars, all looking to apply for an online trading voucher. An awful lot of businesses applied for online trading vouchers. They proceeded to develop their businesses online, and some of those businesses have built significant additional business models and revenue streams through those online channels and those online trading vouchers that were delivered at the time. That has now been changed and adapted and altered. The vouchers now that we provide local businesses with are digital vouchers, where it's a review and an audit of their business from top to bottom, and how digital processes and procedures can be put into place for those businesses. And there's a €5,000 voucher there available to businesses who want to be able to do that. So we are adapting with the times, along with the businesses adapting with the times and what the needs are for each and every business.
And on that, how different is the plan for the coming years to previous iterations of the plan?
Sure, I suppose change happens over time, and why there may be subtle changes in the immediate future. When you look back of a 10-year period, you can see just how much progress has been made and change. The Local Enterprise Office will continue to deliver training, will continue to deliver mentoring, and it will continue to offer financial grant aid and supports. One of the most significant additions to the Local Enterprise Office are the productivity supports, as we call them. There are green, lean and our digital, and they're available to all businesses. Retail, hospitality. The energy efficiency grant is extremely popular with hospitality and traditional sectors who are looking to upgrade equipment and machinery. It's a 75% grant to a maximum of €10,000, and again through an application process is open to every business. So that's probably one of the most significant additions to the Local Enterprise Office role in the last 5 years, and we'll continue to implement the various webinars, programmes and supports. As I mentioned there, we'll be moving out to the rural areas this year to deliver a Grow Remote workshop in collaboration with the Regional Skills Forum. So lots of positives and lots of progress for the future.
And we've seen particular rural areas, more rural areas of County Clare in recent years thriving because of the growth of remote working. But at the same time, there are plenty of villages and towns across the county that don't have a lot of employment hubs in terms of things as simple as cafes or shops, pubs, restaurants, and those types of drivers that can really bring revenue into an area. Is that a concern or an area that the Local Enterprise Office looks at? I suppose a type of balanced regional development within the county.
Yeah, sure. Look, the Local Enterprise Office works in partnership with the other stakeholders and agencies that are out there on the ground, but also with local community groups. And indeed, we work here we work in partnership with the other departments here in the local authority. I'm going to give you an example, I suppose, to answer that question. There are 11 digital hubs across the county, from East Clare right through to North Clare, West Clare, and one as far back as Cross. And I'm not sure all business owners realise that those digital hubs are there and managed by the local authority here in Clare. They're all digital hubs that businesses and enterprises have access to. But myself, I live in Milltown Malbay, and I'm going to give a fine example of where a local community and where local businesses have come together in a cluster format, and that's Design Bank, which was led out by Aoife O'Malley. So Design Bank was initiated, and a group of traders, a group of crafters have come together there. Last year, the Local Enterprise Office ran a creatives programme with them, and we've continued to support the businesses. We've had a grant awarded to one of the businesses that came out of there. No names to be mentioned here, they know who they are themselves, and we have another one of those businesses who'll be attending Showcase on behalf of County Clare in January. So we want to reach as many people as possible, and we do that in partnership with other agencies and with other community groups that are out there, and in connection and collaboration with the other departments and sections that are here in the local authority as well. So in terms of rural decline, I think there are lots of positives. There are certainly challenges, but sometimes challenges are just milestones we have to hit along the way.
How positive is the outlook for business in Clare?
It's extremely positive in terms of the figures that I gave there earlier on. 1,360 jobs supported with the Local Enterprise Office, with small, medium-sized businesses under 10. And in terms of the suite of supports that are coming down, our government has always supported businesses very well in times of, I suppose, economic challenges and global crises, and they'll continue to do so. So overall, once we know what we're dealing with, and once we have a plan to address those challenges, which we have, and the launch of our Local Enterprise Office development plan there today. So I would say overall it's a positive outlook for our county.
Clonlara Independent Councillor Michael Begley, thanks for speaking with me this afternoon. At today's meeting of the Clare Economic SPC, we heard from Theresa, Mulvihill, Killeen of the Local Enterprise Office on the Clare Local Enterprise Development Plan for 2026 to 2028. Overall, having heard the presentation, what was your impression of it, and did you get the sense that the Local Enterprise Office is working to support growth in business in County Clare?
Oh yeah, very much so. I think the LEO is doing a fantastic job. Way back the years when the Clare Enterprise Office first came into play, I was a member of it, and the LEOs replaced that, and they have done tremendous work, and they're developing dramatically, I think, in my view, along the areas that are important to people trying to start a business with modern technology and all of that, and I think they're doing a great job, and I think they'll continue to do that.
And the figures we heard today speak for themselves in terms of the thousands of people supported in terms of jobs in the county. Yeah,
not alone do they support start-up businesses and create jobs, and they have, I think, 1,300 jobs at the moment that were directly created by the LEO support, but on top of that they mentor and train and support in other ways, something like 9,000, over 9,000 I think she said. That's tremendous backup, because it's easy sometimes to start up a business and have great ideas, but when you meet obstacles to find a way around them through mentoring and stuff like that is excellent as well.
There was mention today of adapting and keeping an open mind, and on that you raised farming. You asked if the LEO can support farming. First of all, what brought that to mind for you?
Well, I suppose it kind of was prompted by the presentation itself, because there were several references to food, and obviously food is connected with farming in some way or another. And while we hear complaints that there are no young people going into farming, there actually are some young people who are interested in farming, and they're not always connected with farms. They're not always sons or daughters of farmers.
Somebody who wants to be a contractor, perhaps?
Yes, or even to start up a farming business from scratch. I have a grandson who has attempted to do that, and he's doing fierce well so far. He started with 4 calves. He now has 8, and 2 of those in calf and 2 new calves and that sort of thing.
Great going. Hard to break into.
It's hard to break into. And I was just wondering, is there information available there through the local enterprise office that would support that? And she gave the example with regard to processing and how some farm produce could be turned into a processing industry, and all of that is good, and it's diversifying from the general sort of industrial type of enterprise that we were familiar with,
Mm-hmm. You also mentioned aerospace and apprenticeships.
Yeah, the aeronautical business, I have difficulty in getting apprentices. I suppose it's not seen as attractive maybe to a lot of people, because it brings you into travelling and a lot of that stuff. But I know somebody who is very interested at the moment. They're very mechanically minded, very extremely good at mathematics and that kind of thing, would like to do mechanical engineering and do it in the aeronautical engineering area. And the enterprise office, while they don't do things directly related to that, Theresa did say that they have communications with the various aerospace enterprises in Shannon. Of course, we have an aerospace hub here, which it's something that they'd probably like to get the support in order to be able to recruit the people they need. It's a high-end engineering job, as you can imagine, and I suppose it's not terribly well advertised either. We only found out about their search, if you like, for apprentices by accident some months back, and that's why I prompted me to ask her to know if there were links between the LEO and the aeronautical business.
I asked Theresa about balanced regional development when it comes to supporting businesses across the county, because we heard about Shannon and Ennis today, the large urban centres in County Clare and the large industrial areas, but as a local representative of a rural area, albeit one that's near a large urban centre in Limerick City, would you like to see maybe more emphasis on areas outside of Shannon and Ennis in terms of driving economic growth?
Oh, I definitely would, and I'd love to see places like Kilrush, Killeen, places like that, who could support some local enterprise. Now, there are, over the years, from the original Clare County Enterprise Office and now the local LEO, have supported new enterprises, new startups in areas outside of Shannon and Ennis. And most of them have succeeded, and most of them are there. And you can get to a stage where you're developing maybe quicker than you planned, and you might get or find a way of getting absorbed into a bigger industry of the same type or whatever, but irrespective, I wouldn't be overly hung up in having to establish a business in every town and village in the county. I think that's not practical, but where it can happen, I think it's desirable that it would happen.